Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James, and today we're doing some more forks for tactics, and this is going to be from 800 to 1000. Let's see how many we can do in, well, 10 minutes. Here we go. It's white to move. Remember, always look for checks, captures, and threats. And here, the first one, well, I can definitely see it right away. Did you find it yet? Here, it's white to move. You're going to be playing pawn takes on c7 check. Yes, you can play queen takes on c7 check, but this would not lead to anything good. But we play pawn takes on c7 check. It's a fork attacking the rook and the king. Nice and easy. Let's head on to the next one. Here we go. All right, knight takes on h1, attacking the queen. But the saying is, when you see a good move, look for a better one. And yes, I think I found it. Rook takes on h1 will not lead to glory. Did you find the move yet? Here we get to play queen takes on d4 check. And here we lead to our beautiful fork. White to move. What do you play now? Here, remember, some of the best forking pieces are going to be the queen and the knights. But here in this case, it's going to be this knight right here. We got the royal fork. Knight to f6 check, attacking the king. And of course, it was a royal fork, so we're going to take this queen over here on d7. All right, on to the next one. Here we go. All right, queen to f6 check. Here we really don't have any choice. We must trade the queens here because if we don't, well, they're just going to take our queen. So queen takes, rook takes, and then now we look for the fork. And remember, when you're looking for forks, a good way to fork is to look for the unprotected piece. In this case, it's the bishop. No good way to a fork with the rook over here since the king's all the way over here. So here we're going to fork this king and the bishop. What's the move here? Simple chess. Rook to g3 check, and then let's take the bishop on g4. All right, let's go on for our next one. Ooh, what's this one? Here, well, I see unprotected knight, I see unprotected rook, and unprotected queen. So what is the answer here? Oh, that's a... Oh, okay. Actually, this one is a fork, but it also is going to lead to a checkmate. Notice that the bishop is already controlling the lights, the dark squares over here. So we just need to control the light squares. And here, as I said before, there's unprotected knight. So here we actually get to play it. Do you see it? Here we get to play queen takes on e4 check. The knight blocks, but that's not the big deal. Here we get to play queen takes on f3, and that's a check and a mate. All right, on for the next one over here. Here, knight to e5 got played. And yeah, this is very common. Whenever the knight moves forward, they forget what they were defending. In this case, it was the pawn here on d4. Well, here we know we need to move the queen since the knight is attacking it. So what do you play? As I said, the d4 pawn is just left unprotected. So here we just play queen takes on d4. Here they play queen takes because, well, it didn't really matter if they did or not. Because after the queen took on d4, we were attacking both of these knights, which were now unprotected. And here, after bishop takes d4, the same problems there. Yeah, they played knight c6 to save this knight, but now we get to take this one over here. All right, 5 down, and yep, I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to do 15 puzzles over here. Another one of my favorite forks. Again, a lot of people miss this because this is a tactic combined with another tactic, which is the pin tactic. Here, queen takes on d3 check doesn't do anything because, well, it's just heavily defended with the knight and the king. But here, it's actually going to be a knight fork. Do you see it? Here we use what's called the pin tactic here too. We play knight to b4 check. And here you're probably wondering, hey, why can't the pawn just take? Here it's an absolute pin. You absolutely cannot move it. A pin is whenever you can't move a piece because of another piece behind it. You have the absolute pin, which is done with a king because you absolutely can't put yourself in check. In this case, the pawn cannot take because the rook would be able to attack the king. And the relative pin, it's with any other piece because, well, you can always lose other pieces. You just can't lose your king. So knight check, and then we take. All right, on to the next one. Queen e1 check. Now, white did do a fork here, but remember, whenever you are in check, perform CPR, capture, protect, run, and in that order, you should try to figure it out. CPR. The first thing you look for is C for the capture. So what do you play? Here we just play simple chess. Queen takes on e1. It was just a fork, but it was a good fork for you. All right, on to the next one. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, it's done. Here, knight c7 check. Uh-oh. So here, remember, we are in check here and perform that CPR. Here, most people would just move the king right away because, well, there's only one C to do here, which is queen takes knight. Which, why would you give up a queen, a $9 piece for a $3 piece of the knight? Believe it or not, queen takes knight is actually the move here. Because if you calculate ahead, you'll see that we actually have our own fork that we're threatening. Do you see it? Here, thinking ahead, we see that we actually have a nice knight fork here for knight takes on c2 check, attacking the king and the queen. So here we go, queen takes knight. They take, and now we win an extra piece. Check and takes. All right, here we go. We got 7 more. All right, rook to d8 got played. What do we play now? Oh, this is actually a good one. I got it. Did you find it yet? This is actually a new fork we have not gone over yet, since we did start from 0 to 400 and are making our way up every 200 points. This one right here, there's 2 different ways that you can look at it. Here we see that idea of knight to f7 check, forking the king and the rook. And so the question is here, should you play knight f7 check first, and then after rook takes on d8 check, or play rook takes, and then knight to f7 check? The way that these tactics work is there is only one best move. Don't get me wrong, both are good and both are winning, but there's always going to be a best way to put yourself in that winning position. In this scenario, which one was it? Was it rook takes first or knight to f7 check, forking? Here, of course, it was rook takes first. You might be saying, why is this so? Remember, whenever you're playing your chess game, you always want to trade down pieces, especially when you're winning. So if you play knight f7 check, after rook takes, they at least get the knight here. This other way, we're going to be up an extra piece. Check it out. Rook takes, knight f7 check, and then knight takes. Notice now it's going to be an extra rook in the game. And the other one, you were only up the exchange, meaning you had a knight for the rook. All right, here we go. We got 6 left over here. Bishop d5 makes sense. Here they put us into a pin. So what do we do here to win back? Well, we do have the unprotected rook. But even better, we're going to force the win of the queen here. What? Remember, one of your most powerful resources that you have is the ability to calculate or look ahead. And here I see if we could force the king to the dark squares, particularly g3, then we could bring this bishop in for the fork. So do you see it? We're going to go ahead and attract this queen into the square that we need to. Remember, against a strong chess player, we do not just walk into forks. You have to force your opponent into these weak squares. And that's when we come up with queen to f1 check. The king now goes to h2. If it went to g3, it would have been the same thing. Now do you see it? Now we force the king onto the dark squares, and now bishop f4 check, queen takes f4 check here. Oof, and they've got to be careful because they still have an unprotected bishop and an unprotected rook. Let's see here. We still got 5 more to go. Awesome. I see unprotected queen, and that's going to be it. That's what we're going to do here. So here we're going to do this nice forking idea. We start up with the first one. Queen to h1 check, and the king goes to g1. Now, this is actually technically a skewer. I'm not too sure why it's underneath this one. I guess maybe because it could have been a double attack, at least a variation. But now we're going to go queen g1 check. The king moves, and now queen takes on g6. A skewer is whenever you attack a piece and you get the piece behind it. I like to think of it as a reverse pin, right? All right, king h7, and that's it for that one. Queen goes to e7. What's the move here? Here, another nice fork here. Here, again, look for those unprotected pieces. In this case, it's the rooks over here that are unprotected. But here, the queen can move to attack both of these ones. So what do you play? Here you get to play queen to d1 check. The queen blocks. And now, well, we can just take this rook over here on f3. All right, 3 more. Bishop b3. Here is a very common fork that many people will miss, or maybe they just take too long to play. Here, many people play rook takes a7. Here we have 2 bishops on the same file. Well, that only means something because we actually have the rook. Do you see it? Simple chess. Here you just play rook over to b2, and you are skewering or you're double attacking, and then you get to take the rook on, or you get to take the bishop over here on b4. All right, 2 more to go. Another very nice one. Here, well, let's go ahead and start with our first check. We're going to go ahead and play rook to d1 check, and the king goes to e2. A lot of times, you may not see it right away, but it will lead, when you do your first check, it'll help you along. So just remember, try to find those first checks right away. Here, a lot of people will get stuck because, well, it looks like everything is just being protected here. Of course, we don't want to go rook to d2. Yes, this is a fork, but the bishop can simply just take. And you're looking around, and where's the next check at? Queen c4 check, queen takes over here. And here you see, wait a second, we have queen g4 check, but what does this move do? Here you're going to make them walk into it. So what do you play? Here we get to play queen g4 check, and this will attack the king and the pawn here on g2. And, well, that's going to make them lose over here. So queen g4 check, the pawn blocks, and then we get to play queen takes on g2 check. And here the bishop is forced back to f2. At this point, we'll now win the queen and the bishop for 2 rooks. It kind of ended a little bit early here, so, well, basically just know after bishop f2, we play rook to d2 check, and after queen takes, rook takes, king takes, this leaves the bishop over here on f2 unprotected, so the queen takes on f2, and, well, it's going to be queen versus the bishop and the rook here, so definitely a winning position here. All right, last one over here. Awesome. Here we get a very simple fork that we have not really seen in this series so far. But, well, always look at all your pieces. And don't forget about your little ones. Here, it's black to move and win. What do you play? A nice simple fork here. Here we get to play pawn to d4, forking the queen and the knight here on c3. Here they play knight e4 to attack our queen. Just remember, as long as you're winning an extra piece, it's not such a big deal. So here we're just going to play pawn takes queen right here. Yes, they take ours, but we take back. We have 2 pieces, and they only have 1, and that's going to be enough for winning material to win the game. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to give us that like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video where we're going to be going over, what is that, 1,000 to 1,200. All right, we'll see you in the next video.